Hey guys, it's Amelia here. I'm going to talk to you today about what it's like to get an apartment here in Korea, and also I'll give you a short tour, and I mean short because it's really small, a short tour of my new apartment that I'm living in Korea. It's just a short-term 3-month lease, but this is my 4th apartment in Korea, and I will be moving to my 5th apartment starting in March. If you just want to see the apartment tour, I'll put a link below to show you where that starts. But first I'm going to answer some of the questions that I got a lot when I first uploaded my other 3 apartment tour videos. That way, hopefully it'll be helpful and you won't have to ask a bunch of questions in the comment section below. So anyways, let's get started. When I first moved here, I had an apartment that was provided by my landlord. It was a small villa and it had just small like officetel units. So that was my little tiny 1-room video if you saw it in my video before here. And I lived there 1 year. And then I got a new job that provided me no key money, but they provided me a housing allowance. And in Korea you need a key money, which is like a big deposit that you get back at the end, but the landlord invests it while you're living there so you don't have to pay as much rent. And the problem with that is you have to have like 5 million won to begin with, and that's like a minimum, which is like 5,000 US dollars. So if you don't have that money and you can't pay any key money, like my situation, then you end up paying a really high monthly rent. And on top of that, those kinds of apartments are just really hard to find to begin with, where you don't even have key money. So in the neighborhood that my school was in, I talked to a realtor and there were just no apartments in that neighborhood. And I think the very few that there were like really gross and janky and old and not my style. Like I couldn't subject myself to living in that kind of place, no offense. So I lived just over the river in Gangnam, and that first apartment was 1,050,000 won per month, so like 1,000 US dollars. I lived there from March to August, and then in August is when I lived in the share house. So from August to November I lived in a share house, and that's my 3rd apartment tour video on this channel. And then in November I moved to this current apartment that I'm staying in, so I'll live here until March 1st when I move to start my new job. And the current apartment that I'm staying in is 850,000 won for the deposit, which I'll obviously get back, and then the monthly rent is 850,000 won. But this is it. Like, doop, there you go, that's the apartment tour. Just kidding. I'll go into more detail later. But it's really small, but I mean, it's fine for me. Like, I don't have a lot of stuff, and I kind of like the nice, clean, like 1-room space. I'm a very clean person, and so I like smaller apartments because it's a lot less work to take care of. But the thing that stinks is the kitchen part is really small, and I wish I could do more cooking and baking, and I don't even have room for an oven, so that kind of stinks. I'm gonna answer a few of the questions that I got before, because I got a lot of apartment tour questions on the 2nd video that I uploaded. I don't know why, but that one got like a bunch of views. The first question is, where is the apartment located? It was located between Kyode Station and Gangnam Station, and the apartment that I'm living in now is located between Gangnam Station and Yeoksam Station. So it's basically just down the street from Gangnam Station, just in the other direction. What did I use, or who did I use to find the apartment? That was my realtor, Jay. Hi, Jay. She helped me find my current apartment that I'm living in, and also the one that I'm moving to March 1st. And she's really awesome. She speaks English. I actually just found her on Craigslist. That's what I've kind of used to look for all my apartments. And also, if you want to look, you can use Cheekbong, which is an app for finding apartments. The only thing is with that one is it's all in Korean, so you have to be able to at least read Hangul before you use it. It's not that hard if you have a Korean friend that can help you figure it out. One thing I did want to let you guys know is when you find an apartment here, sometimes the realtors will use a picture of a different apartment that might already be off the market to kind of draw people in. So I had one situation where I got kind of upset where I found an apartment on Cheekbong that I really thought was so cute, and it had like the whole like gray and pastel pink thing going on, and I was like, wow, that would be so cute to live in. And it even had like one of those like lace mosquito nets that went over the bed, and I was like, wow, this is perfect for like a single girl living in Gangnam. So my friend called and said, hey, like, we saw this apartment, can we come look at it? And she was like, yeah, like, can you come tomorrow or whatever? And I was like, yeah, okay. So my Korean friend went and met me there because the realtor didn't speak English. So we go all the way to the realtor's office, which, by the way, was like over an hour away from my house. And we get there, and the lady said, like, oh, well, what's your price range and what neighborhood are you looking for? And I was confused. I was like, aren't you taking us to see this apartment that we called about? And she was like, what? Oh, no, that one was already sold a few weeks ago. Why is it on your website then? Like, take it down. And she was like, well, I have others in the neighborhood that are similar. And I was like, oh, okay. So she took us to this one apartment, and like, it was so old and gross, and the floors were all nasty. I mean, it wasn't like an awful condition, but it was like really dark, and it had like this dark wood everywhere. And I was like, no. In Korea, you have to take your shoes off when you're looking an apartment, even if it's like empty and dirty. So I took my shoes off, and I was like mad because I was like, now I have to like, it was winter time and I had boots on, and I was like, this is not even worth taking my shoes off. When she opened the door and I saw what it looked like, I was like, no. And that really frustrated me because here I was like spending my time going to look at this apartment, and then she could have at least held up her end of the deal and like not posted pictures to lure me in. So a few people asked me why I moved so much last year, and that was just basically because I had a short-term lease. The first one was 6 months, so I could decide if I wanted to stay or go, and I decided to go and find something cheaper. So that's why I moved in the share house. And my original plan was to live in the share house from August until March, so for 6 months, but somebody actually booked the whole share house that I was living in, so everybody had to move out. So that's why I only stayed there for 3 months, and then at that point I decided just to move back to Gangnam since it was a lot closer to my work anyways. But then the reason I'm moving again is because I'm going to live within walking distance of my new school, which is in the Wangchimni neighborhood. So yeah, kind of long story short, that's why I moved so much. And the other thing is that I should share is it's really pretty cheap to move in Korea. I think every time I've moved, I paid between $30 and $50 for a moving truck. I had to pack everything myself, but I didn't have a lot of stuff. And they transported me and my stuff from the apartment that I was in to the other place, which was like almost an hour drive one of the times. It was $50 and it was an hour drive, but I would have had to pay like $35 to make that drive in a taxi, just with myself. And so it was basically only another $15, and this guy like moved all my stuff for me too. So that's the other thing. It's not like you have to spend a whole day like asking a friend with a truck to come and like help you move everything. like that's what I had to do in the US. So this was the other easier thing, is I could just have somebody come and pick me up. And I actually felt bad like both of the times when I moved before. It was so cheap, and they were like doing everything for me practically. So I give them a tip, and tipping isn't really common in Korea, but I like felt bad that they were doing all this for me and they were only charging like $35 one time. So I gave them like a $10 or $15 tip, I think. Okay, so now I'm going to start the actual apartment tour video for this apartment. I want to apologize in advance that it might be kind of shaky. I don't have any professional touring equipment for video cameras and fancy stuff. I just use my iPad to edit. So yeah, I got a lot of complaints before that say my videos are too shaky. So forewarning, if you get nauseous really easily, you might want to turn it off now because it will be shaky. There you go, I warned you. So anyways, let's get started.
When you walk down the hallway, this is what you see.
And I'm going to go ahead and punch my password in the keypad here. And you can take a look here. This is where we have the camera, so I can see who's coming in. And this is what you see when you first walk in. So there's my bathroom to the right, kitchen to the left, and then the main living space right here. This is my coat and shoe closet here. And this is my washing machine. There are usually not dryers in Korea, especially in places like this. And then I have a stovetop here, and then there's also a vent and lighting system above the stove. This is my cabinet where I keep all my spices and flavors, and also the stuff for salad dressing. And over here is where I keep all my iHerb supplements. Gotta take those every day to stay healthy. And then I have my dishes in this cupboard here. And of course my tea kettle for tea time. And down here I keep all my cleaning supplies. And then over here in this cabinet I just have random stuff. Protein powder mix, pot pans. Yeah, that's good stuff. And my refrigerator is actually really empty right now. I have some tapioca pudding and also some eggs. Yeah. Down in my freezer I have some tortilla shells and green beans, and then this is my radio and my intercom system here. And that is actually really handy. It comes with the directions because this used to be a hotel, so they translate it in a bunch of languages. And there's all the gadgets basically. That's the water heater. And I actually have an air purification system which is built into the ceiling over here, so that's pretty cool too. The bathroom in this apartment is pretty basic, just toilet and sink there. And then we have this cabinet that has a nice built-in blow dryer, which is pretty handy. Ah, hello! And over here we have my sink with the toothbrush cup and soap dish. And then looking over here we have the super teeny tiny shower. Yeah, so tiny. I can barely turn around inside of it. One thing I really hate about this apartment is that headboard thing that's stuck to the wall over there. You can't remove it, so I didn't even want to bother covering it up since I'm only living here for 3 months. Thanks again for stopping by my channel to watch this video today, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you all have a great day. Bye!